Good morning, everyone. We'll call the May 7th meeting of the Jackson City Council to order, and we'll ask Councilman Bray to lead us in our invocation and pledge. If you would, please rise.
Our most gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for all the good things you do to us and for us. Yeah. Help us do better in the future than we might have done in the past. Lead, guide, and direct us in everything we do, because we're trying to have a better Jackson. Yeah. These things we ask in our precious name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, I think you can show all council members present. On item 4 is approval of the minutes of the April 2nd, 2013 City Council meeting. Council members have a copy of those minutes, if there are any additions, any corrections. If not, those minutes will stand as sent out. Item 5 is invitation to public comment, and I would encourage any members of the audience, if you do have a comment under any item under new business, if you would let me know that, we'll be sure and call you up to where you can make your comments. Item 6, and we have 2 proclamations this morning. I'll go down and get those done. First one is for the American Cancer Society Relay for Life. And let me ask Donna Steins, she's here, the Executive Director of the Jackson office, Mark McSwain, Chairman of the Jackson-Madison County Relay for Life, and Dottie McSwain, Co-Chair of the Jackson-Madison County Relay for Life, to come up, if you would. And let me just read this proclamation. I'll present it to you all, and you all can remind these people where they need to be and what time, okay? This is a proclamation, whereas Relay for Life is a signature activity of the American Cancer Society and celebrates cancer survivors and caregivers, remembers loved ones lost to the disease, and empowers individuals and communities to fight back against cancer. And whereas money raised during the Relay for Life of Madison County supports the American Cancer Society's mission of saving lives and creating a world with less cancer and more birthdays, by helping people stay well, by helping people get well, by finding cures for cancer, and by fighting back. And whereas Relay for Life helped fund more than $150 million in cancer research this past year. Now, therefore, we, Jerry Guest, Mayor of the City of Jackson, Tennessee, and Jimmy Harris, Mayor of Madison County, Tennessee, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2013 as American Cancer Society Relay for Life Awareness Month, and encourage all citizens to participate in the Relay for Life of Jackson-Madison County event to be held May 10th and 11th, 2013 at Jackson Fairgrounds Park. It's an honor for me to present this to you all, and thank you all so much for what you all do. Tell these folks
Y'all, I just want to, first time I went into Relay for Life, I was under the effects of a serious cancer treatment regimen. And this month I celebrate 5 years since my last treatment. And I want to thank you as a community, thank you as a council, and thank you, Mayor, for the support the city gives us. Y'all come, you give us encouragement, you give us hope, and you give us strength. And we want to invite you to be there Friday night, beginning at 6 o'clock. Come support the Survivor Lap, the Luminaria, all that takes place. Come have fun, bring your family, lots of food, friends, and fun. And we want to invite you all to come. Relay for Life is a community event. It's for everyone. So please come join us.
Your second proclamation concerns the Drinking Water Week, and we are truly blessed in this city to have the best drinking water in the nation. and I think has been voted as such, if not very close to it. And let me ask Tony Fitz if he would come up from Superintendent of Treatment Operations for JEA. Tony, thank you for being here, bud. It's a proclamation, whereas water is our most valuable natural resource, and whereas only tap water delivers public health protection, fire protection, support for our economy, and the quality of life we enjoy. And whereas any measure of a successful society, low mortality rates, economic growth and diversity, productivity, and public safety are in some way related to access to safe water. And whereas we're all stewards of the water infrastructure upon which future generations depend, and whereas each citizen of our city is called upon to help protect our water sources from pollution, to practice water conservation, and to get involved in local water issues by getting to know their water. Now therefore I, Jerry Gist, Mayor of the City of Jackson, Tennessee, do hereby proclaim May 5th through the 11th, 2013 as Drinking Water Week, and urge all citizens to recognize the importance of water in our lives and our community. It's an honor for me to present this to you, and if you would like to come up and tell everybody what you got going on.
Well, as usual, Mr. Mayor, you said about everything. I'd like to thank the mayor and the city council for doing everything that you can do to protect our city, make it a better place. And now we've got another agenda is to help protect our water. And I thank you for that. And if you have any questions, you can contact us at Jackson Energy Authority. We have a website that you can get a hold of, jacksonenergy.com, or you can contact awwa.org for more information. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Item 7 is first readings. We have consideration of amendment to the ordinance of the City of Jackson, Title 15, Chapter 1, Section 15-122, relative to illegal parking citations. Captain Corley?
Good morning, Council.
Good morning.
As you have before you, there is the amendment to this particular section of the city ordinance in reference to failure to obey traffic or parking citation. The current version of the ordinance only allows for enforcement after 48 hours by warrant. That's not the most practical way to recover the fines. The state law allows for municipalities to recover illegal parking fines through the use of a collection agency, so long as they provide proper notice. So this ordinance has been revised to facilitate that, such that the recorder's office will make sure that a letter is sent out and proper notice is provided that the city can use a collection agency to recover those fines.
Okay, any questions from council as to this ordinance and its intent?
Move for approval. Second.
Okay, we have a motion for approval and a second. Before we vote, let me just open a public hearing. This is ordinance on first reading to see if there's anyone present who would like to speak in support of or in opposition to the passage of this ordinance. Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing, and council, please vote.
And the vote is unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Done. Item 8 is second readings, and we have none. Item 9 is new business, and we have a presentation by Jackson Downtown Development Corporation. It's Katie Pace, Executive Director, that she would like to present to council and those in attendance. Good morning, Katie.
Good morning, and thank you for giving me time to get up here and tell you all the great things that are happening downtown that helps benefit our city as well. So, and we could not do it without your support and the continued volunteers that we get from both the council and many people in this room. The first thing I want to do is introduce my staff, and who nothing would be possible without them. We have Caroline Wells, who is our event coordinator, so all the great events we have downtown, she is coordinating. and Justine Duggar, who is our office staff and helps keep me on track, which you guys know is probably quite a job for her. So if you guys could stand up, and I just want you guys to know that if you need anything out of our office, you can come to any of the three of us. So, the first thing I want to say is give you a little background. Some of you may not know we're a Tennessee Main Street program. There are 27 of us across the state of Tennessee. We just received our state accreditation last month, and that goes on once we achieve those goals and meet their requirements. It goes on to the National Main Street program, which has over 3,500 across the country, and we just received that accreditation approval last week. So that means we're running our organization according to national guidelines. We're meeting their requirements. We have oversight of our organization both on a financial and development side as well. So we're very excited about that. The reason I'm before you is because I want to say thank you. I have been here since June of 2009, and I've witnessed a lot of changes, most of which was in the works prior to me getting here to Jackson, Tennessee. But I get the absolute privilege of showing it and sharing it with everybody and getting excited. So these are statistics that we are required to keep by the state of Tennessee and the National Main Street program. And this kind of shows you whenever 2010, that's our end of year, 2011 is our end of year. So within a year, we had great investment. Obviously, our public investment goes on a state, federal, local level, county, and city. All those numbers get compiled together, as well as private investment of those developers and new businesses downtown. So we try to track all of this. We get the best information we can from our businesses, and city and county have been fabulous, and so is the state and federal governments about giving me information. So we're pretty happy about these statistics, but what really makes me happy is the 2012 statistics. We had, the state really looks at our overall investment within our district, and we had $31.3 million. Now, a large portion of that, of course, is our Jackson Walk development that's happening and the Lift Center, and so we're very, very excited about that. We expect our numbers to keep up next year as well, come 2013, through continued development. But I do want you to know that even at 29.7 in private is not all Jackson Walk. We look at other developments such as the renovations that Mr. Walker is doing on the old Marathon building on Royal Street. Any building improvements that we know a private developer is doing or a private business and building owner is doing, we track those to the best we can. Again, there's only three of us, so we rely heavily on them to share the information. I will say the best thing about this number that makes me very, very happy is the fact that we are number one in the state of Tennessee in downtown total investment across the state as far as Main Street programs. And that's all I have to compare it to, because we all have to turn in our numbers. And so that made me very excited to put us on top. We get compared to Murfreesboro and Franklin quite a bit, so to come out a little ahead makes me smile. So I'm very, very happy. Most of this, though, we could not do without your support. The businesses could not do without your support, and neither could the developers. So, again, that partnership and complete support to move downtown forward helps move the city forward, which is our overall goal. We do focus on downtown. That's what our mission is, and that's what we're supposed to do. But we all live in this community. We all have children in this community, and so the city of Jackson, Masson County is our priority overall. We hope the work that we're doing downtown and encouraging and being a resource to those businesses help Masson County and Jackson recruit new business and therefore new jobs, and help make us a better off community living, quality of life living. And so we're very happy to be doing what we do. We get the fun job. What we did learn, and this is the National Main Street, they just put this out at the National Main Street Conference in New Orleans a couple weeks ago, and 18-to-1 is the reinvestment ratio. That means for every dollar spent in a Main Street community, 18 dollars are returned. So that's great, because that means tax dollars are increased in investment, and continued reinvestment into our downtowns will help our community as well. These are all from national averages that are across the country. So, and comparatively, we are right up there with them. And again, I said the city is a main goal. Whenever we look at our planning as a board of directors, we have 21 board of directors, and Bobby Arnold has just stepped in as our board president this year. One of the things that we are looking at is a little bit beyond our boundaries. We go south to the fairgrounds, north to Dedrick, west to Johnson, and east to Hayes. But we do like to look at the other venues, and, you know, we try our best to promote everything that happens at the Civic Center, fairgrounds, and Omen, and we believe those are vital to the quality of life that we have here in Jackson. So we do look at overall plans and how can we be an assistance to those and what the city is doing to really promote those venues or improve those venues or make future decisions for the quality of life for its citizens, even surrounding us. We do work with the Atlanta Neighborhood Association. We'd like to keep in touch with the Chester Neighborhood Association because they are a vital part of what we do. So our hands reach just beyond our borders to, again, help our overall city. And again, we not only want to be a resource to those businesses downtown and beyond and to the venues, but we also want to be a resource and advocate for you as well. So if there's anything you need from us at JDDC, please contact us at any time. And again, thank you very much for all you have done for us this year, and we hope that you guys get to go out and share these great numbers to help our city.
Katie, thank you, and especially your board. I know it's a hard-working board, and they've been very active in promoting our downtown, and you all do an awful lot, and you have a festival coming up, and I'm beginning to get some information on.
Yes, you should be getting some information about Music Fest, the Shan Street. It's the 22nd year. We will be holding it right in front of City Hall again. It seems to be the best venue and the most welcoming for families, and we're trying to make sure it's a safe thing for everybody in light of what's happening across our country. And so we've been working already with Jackson Police Department, making sure it's a secured location and it's a safe place for families to be and
Great,
really make it a true community event.
great. Any questions or comments from council?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
good morning, Ms. Pace. How are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
With respect to those boundaries of the downtown development district, would you go over those again?
Yeah, I tend to speed through things. I'm sorry. We go north to Dedrick, so that's our north boundary. We go south to the fairgrounds. We incorporate them, as well as go east to Hayes, and we go west to Johnson.
Okay. Let me ask your professional opinion with, as it relates to a 3 to 5 mile radius from downtown, east, west, north, and south. How important is it to the downtown district to have the 3 to 5 mile radius, east, west, north, and south developed?
Well, it's very important. Number one, we can't recruit, I get asked about chains all the time downtown. Well, it's very hard to recruit chain businesses because the very first thing they look at is rooftops, and then they want to know how much money's in those rooftops, number one. And so the healthier, even, we say we like the heart of our community to be extremely healthy, and that will breed that community involvement, the community investment, and therefore breeds out into the rest of our city. If the borders around our district and the neighborhoods and the businesses are not healthy, who's going to come through them to get to ours? And we figure the more success that they have even outside of our personal boundaries that we're focused on, the better off our community to be, because then it'll be a safer community. People won't be afraid to go to a certain side, whether it be northeast, west, or south. And so we try to, we want to be involved, we want to be a part, even if it doesn't fall into that district, but it does come within that 3 to 5 mile radius of us. The hospital is 1.5 miles from here. That's obviously another location that is all that whole area up to Parkway and everything. We do like to look at the overall plans and see how can we assist, because anything that happens beyond that obviously affects what we do here and affects the people who live here and the people who go to those venues and the people who go to those businesses. And so that's something we do try on an overall plan. And I know our board of directors is very adamant about looking at a 3 to 5 year plan so we can figure out how to help the city the best we can.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or
You
comments?
spoke on health in the community. Could you touch on the walking trail with the exercise stations downtown, timeline on that?
That's the best thing. Obviously, having a small staff, it's hard to run grants through and administrate them and all that stuff. So we're lucky, city applied for a grant with the state, along with LIFT, West Tennessee Healthcare Chamber of Commerce, and I know I'm going to leave somebody out, and I'm so sorry. But to help us become a healthier community physically, and so we got a $25,000 grant to do a downtown fitness trail. And everybody's asking, well, where's the trail going to be? Well, it's already here. It's the sidewalks. We get to use what we already have, so there's not a lot of infrastructure that we have to do for this downtown trail. It's a 1.5 mile walk that will encompass the lift all around downtown, and along the way in our pocket parks that the city owns, we'll have little workout stations like an elliptical, a weightlifting, pull-up, stations around. So there's 7 stations, and those you should start seeing concrete poured for those pads for that equipment to go in, I think around the 1st of June. If I'm right, Tony, it's part of that. Am I right? Sooner than June. It's sooner than June, so you'll start seeing it come soon.
Next several weeks.
So we're very excited. Again, it's just another way, and then we get to show off downtown when people come down to walk. So we already have many of the downtown employees that walk already, so we're just giving them a laid-out path.
Okay.
I have a question if I could, and this is kind of relative to Councilman Buchanan's inquiry. How were those boundaries determined?
They were determined long before I came into the picture, so I'm not sure what all went in to determining those originally. We have one of the largest districts in the state of Tennessee for a Main Street, which can make it difficult. We have a lot of businesses, so it's hard to kind of keep track of everything, but that was predetermined. And we've discussed squaring up our boundaries a little bit because it's got a horseshoe. Because originally, I think it followed the railroads.
Okay, okay. So as the city grows, as downtown grows, those boundaries can be extended.
If the board chooses to do so.
Okay.
I would
And-
like to have more staff if they do that.
Well-
It's hard to keep up with what we got.
Okay, okay. Well, that's my question. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Katie, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate
Thank
you
you,
being here
council.
and sharing that with the council. Item 2 under new business is consideration of resolution approving the annual action plan 2013-2014. And Dave is here to provide information to the council on that issue. Morning, Dave.
Good morning, Mayor, council members. I'm here today to present the annual action plan 2013-2014. That is the 4th year annual action plan of our 5-year plan. So we've got one more year, and then we'll start a new 5-year plan, which will be totally and absolutely different than the format that we use, because HUD has turned everything into digital. So, but we'll deal with that next year. Okay. The budget amounts for this year, and I think y'all have a copy of the draft budget that was sent to you. But we based our budget allocations off what HUD had recommended on CDBG. However, we feel like there will be a future amendment to that budget because we still do not have the HUD allocations at this date. I have called HUD again this morning, and they're still not out. We can anticipate a 5% cut, or we could actually anticipate a small increase based on formula. That's what the delay is. HUD is reviewing the new formula, or the formula based on the 2010 census, and they have not completed that review. Home, however, is cut 5% as part of this, the budget cuts across the board by Congress, and so we're budgeting that at $265,745. Based on program income and estimated carryovers, and we won't know about the carryovers until we close the year out, but these are the estimates at this point in time. CDBG, we're looking at $50,000 of estimated carryover and $60,000 program income. And on program income for home, $30,000, and estimated previous year funds carryover, 173,000. But I've got a feeling that the report that we have from HUD is not as accurate based upon an amendment we passed last year for CHODOs, where we moved it from target rehab into CHODOs. And I should be able to have that figure by year end. And then this year, the Emergency Shelter Grant Program, which is funded through the state, was a major increase from 90-something thousand to 185,000, and those dollars and the grant has been signed, and it actually began in April. And so we have 177,000 going to a variety of homeless agencies such as the Dream Center, Southwest Human Resource Agency, and Area Relief Ministries, and which requires a equal match by these agencies, and we have some match in CDBG, but it will not cover a lot of it, and they can use a lot of in-kind match. We did not fund Southwest this year for the match because we just ran out of funds based on the increase of cost, and they're the largest agency with resources with in-kind type match that they could handle. So, and we informed them of that during public hearings and separate meetings. So these are all the projects. You will see that the largest expenditure is the principal and interest on the 108 loan. We're still trying to fund the minor emergency repair at a level that meets our need. And then we have our public services meet our 15% criteria, and public services and CBDO activities cannot exceed 25% of our budget. So if 15% is required by statutory requirements for public services, and we're just right at that. And so it's working out, and we are continually funding at-risk youth program. We did an amendment in March to fund June, which is still in this fiscal year, and 25,000 this year to either fund next June or whatever the program requires between now and then. And then we still have to continue with legal services and Operation Hope and our match requirements. So it's basically a bread and butter type budget of those programs that have been staples throughout the year that we're continuing through. And the same way with home, we've increased the CHODO requirements because we're trying to get them to acquire and rehab more houses than trying to build new infill, because infill is extremely expensive. And so we're able to cut that back and get more houses back into the tax system as well as the inventory for low and moderate income persons. There are some differences in this year's annual action plan. We're addressing some fair housing impediments. We've already completed our outreach on Spanish-speaking requirements in our public notices and our documents, and we also have included special accommodations in those public notices and so forth for this year. But next year, we're going to have to start looking at disparities in loans that go into low and moderate income areas. We're planning a meeting with the lending institutions, hopefully for the year is June 30th. And as part into meeting that, we have amended our citizen participation plan to accommodate fair housing requirements, as well as we have shortened the public comment period for substantial amendments because they come up quickly in time we get to council and so forth. Normally we're going to be behind. Now, whenever I can basically have enough time on substantial amendments and we're first notified when there's a need to change that, we will try to do the 30-day notice like we do normally with the annual action plan. So in the matrix this year, we're looking at for fair housing, looking at that loan disparity in low moderate income neighborhoods by lending institutions, looking at an educational component for life skills for Memphis youth, similar to the Grizzly Institute program in Memphis, things such as handling money, job search, budgeting, buying a house, buying that first major item they want to buy when they get a job, which normally will probably be a vehicle. And we'll be able to work with some of the different dealerships to provide some seminar on how that works also. And credit, and how important credit is starting out as a youth. Apparently, as a grandfather, I've had some success with my grandson on that, and he bought his first new car, and he's 23, by himself. And I think you just got to work with them. And then we're looking at trying to put a digital housing resource listing together for those special programs by lending institution. That's why we want to meet with them, because we know out there, and apparently Fair Housing does not, at HUD, that there are special programs that lending institutions have. Those need to be identified and how they impact low and moderate income areas and residents. And that was part of the Citizen Participation Plan amendment, which was approved by the Jackson Housing Authority. Based on that, that's a quick summary of the annual action plan. So if y'all have any questions, I'll be more than happy to try to answer them.
Dan, I noticed on the budget there, you know, each year we've had quite a bit of carryover, you know, money left. Is that figured back into the budget the next year?
Yes, ma'am,
Where
it
is
is, and it's been dwindling.
Yeah,
And as we also run across programs that are slow movers, like for this year, we did, I hate to say this, we took some money away from a nonprofit, but they had plenty of money for later grants, and then we reprogrammed that, if y'all remember, into the at-risk youth program. So it could not only be spent in a timely fashion, but meet another need.
okay.
Now, the one on home, I think it's kind of high. That's based on a HUD report. And as I close out the year, we will adjust that to what it actually is.
Okay.
What exactly is the 108 home? What are we paying for there?
The 108 loan is the program where the CRA districts 1 and 2 received $1.5 million, such as over in the NSP area, the streets were put in. The District 2 process is moving slowly, and those dollars have not been spent. And so, but they're there because those are part of a bond program that we have to pay back.
Total of roughly 3 million divided half and half.
Half
between
and half.
District 1
That's
and
just the loan payments on that bond program?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Got a
Any
question.
other question, Councilman Brooks?
I'm sorry, Mayor. Yes, Dave, just to clarify, the $25,000 allocated for the at-risk youth program, that's the summer jobs program, isn't it?
Yes, sir. That was the one that was last year that actually had the huge success in decreasing the number of youth that were going through juvenile court.
Right. Thank you.
That's the problem there. Okay, anyone else? Any comments or questions? If not, is there a motion for approval of the resolution?
So moved.
Have a
Second.
motion and a second. Discussion from council. Council, please vote.
And the vote is unanimous.
Glad to see that back at unanimous.
Thank you, Dave. Okay, item 3 under new business is, we have a long list of contracts, so Ms. White, if you would come up and make yourself comfortable and start out with your contract for pre-disaster services.
Okay, it's time again to send out bids for the pre-disaster services for the city of Jackson. We received 6 bids, and with all of our contracts, we advertise in local newspapers, we advertise on the city's website, and we send out bid packages to companies that provide goods and services that we need. Now, the purpose of a pre-disaster contract is to provide eligible debris clearing, removal, and disposal services to the city in the event of a tornado or a disaster. FEMA encourages all the governments to take a proactive role in coordinating debris management as a part of our overall emergency management plan. But by having a contract in place, we already know the prices that we're going to pay, and we assure the public that recovery efforts are in progress. And Lamar Alexander told us at one point that Jackson was one of the fastest cities that he's ever seen cleaned up, and that's because we've had a pre-disaster contract in place since 1999. And we're recommending Delta Contracting be awarded this contract, lowest and best bid received.
Move that Delta be awarded the contract for pre-disaster services.
Second.
Any discussion? We have a motion and a second. Not council, please vote.
And the vote is unanimous.
Second contract is for long-distance telephone services.
It's time to rebid this one as well, and we sent out bids, placed it on the internet, advertised in the local newspaper. We only received one bid, and it is Aeneas Internet and Telephone. And as you can see, the prices are for intra-LATA, intrastate, and interstate, and they are the only bid received. They are also our current vendor.
Move we accept the recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Second.
Discussion?
On that real quick, was there any reason that nobody else bid on it that you're aware of?
I did call JEA and ask them, and they said they don't provide that service unless we have their wiring.
Okay. Is there
The
any reason
rest of
AT&T
them-
chartered it, or
Pardon me?
any reason AT&T or chartered it and bid on it?
I don't know. We sent it out to 10 people who do provide this service. Aeneas, Quest, Bell South, Tenmark, AT&T, Communi Group, WorldCom, Sprint, and JEA.
Just make them bid.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second, do we not? Any other questions from council? Council, please vote.
And the vote is unanimous.
Next item is a contract for ballistic vest.
Move the
Oh,
approval.
guardrail, I'm sorry.
Move the approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion for approval and a second on the guardrail contract. Council, please vote.
And the vote is unanimous.
Now we'll go to contract for ballistic vest.
It's time to rebid for the ballistic vest for the police department. This year, they chose a lighter weight vest. Of course, it's not as heavy, but it is as durable as the ones that they currently wear. And the lowest and best bid was Accurate Law Enforcement, and the vest is $475. They're $475 each.
Second.
I have a motion for approval and a second. Discussion from council. Council, please vote.
And the vote is unanimous.
Next item is contract for janitorial products.
It's time to rebid janitorial products for the city of Jackson. These will be used on an as-needed basis by all of our departments. And the lowest best bid is A1 Janitorial.
Move the approval. Second.
I have a motion for approval and a second. Discussion.
Is there any reason why 3 of those bids were incomplete? I mean,
Yes.
in what way were they incomplete?
Good question. 2 of them bid only on the poly bags or the garbage liners, and the other one did not have a complete bid. They didn't bid on all the items that we asked.
Okay.
Any other questions? Council, please vote.
And the vote is unanimous.
Item 8 is a consideration of contract for engineering design for generators used, CDGB, disaster recovery funds.
The city received a grant for our disaster recovery project, and in order to do this, we have to hire an A&E to design these generators. The state has approved A2H, and their price is $20,290.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion for approval, second. Discussion from council. Council, please vote.
And the vote is unanimous.
Item 9 is consideration of a contract for towing services.
It's time to rebid the towing services for the city of Jackson. As you can see, we had 3 bids. Unfortunately, Mans sent in a bid, but they didn't turn in their price sheet, so we couldn't consider their bid. So the other 2 were Bob Parker and Clement was the lowest and best bid received.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
May I ask a
Go
question,
ahead.
Ms. White, with respect to the terms of the towing contracts, are they yearly, or we rebid? How you bid out the contract yearly?
These are 1-year contracts with 4 one-year options to renew.
Have we ever bid towing services before?
We have.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion?
Second?
So moved.
Have a motion, to second. Discussion from council.
Okay, in what way was it the best bid?
It was the
For,
lowest.
just for example, I mean, what was Bob Parker's, what did it not have, or, I don't want to catch you off guard, but I mean, just,
Surprise.
I know it was the lowest, but you said lowest and best, so were there some others that, you know, were not necessarily the lowest, but you determined that because they would provide the same services?
Yes, if you will look at your bid tab, we have Bob Parker, Clement, and Mans, and as you go down the prices, you'll see that Clement is the lowest prices.
Right, I see that, but I guess I'm not making myself clear, so, sometimes when you say the best bid, it is the best, because of services they provide. More services are gonna be provided that fit our needs. I'll have to answer
No,
to
no,
this, you
it's
know, in
okay.
South Jackson for Bob Parker, so I'm searching for.
I understand, I
Yeah.
understand. Both companies are very good companies, and you can award a bid based upon the lowest or the best.
Right.
Clement is both, lowest and best.
Okay, that's enough, thank you.
Okay, we do have a motion, I think, Anita, and a second. Any other question to council? Council, please vote.
And the vote is unanimous.
Okay, item 10 is consideration of a contract for leather gear. I assume that's for the police department.
It's time to rebid the leather gear for the police department. And as you can see, we received 6 bids, and the lowest and best bid is from Mid-South Uniform Solutions.
Move for approval.
Second.
Yes, we do.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions from council?
Where are they located?
Memphis?
Any other questions? Council, please vote.
And the vote is unanimous.
Item 11 is consideration of a contract for the implementation and administration of a deferred compensation plan for city employees.
The city has a deferred compensation plan for city employees, which is basically our retirement fund. Those who choose can elect to get into this, but it's not a mandatory item that's set forth by the city. Every few years, we need to send out requests for qualifications and requests for proposals to see if we can get a better return on our money. 10 companies responded to the request for qualifications, and 5 companies submitted additional information. And then from the 5, the committee comprised of Al Laffoon, Sam Dawson, Lynn Henning, Rick Holt, and myself shortlisted those to 2 companies. We interviewed them, and as you can see, ING gives us a guaranteed annual fixed rate of 3% on our money. They charge no administration fee. They charge 0.45% as an admin fee if you have your money in other options, stock market, things like that. ICMARC, based out of Washington, D.C., was also interviewed. They have no guaranteed annual fixed rate, and they have an administrative charge of 1.58%. So the committee recommends ING as our deferred compensation provider.
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, we have a motion for approval and a second. Any discussion from council?
Who is the current?
And
Any other questions? Council, please vote.
And the vote is unanimous.
Okay, item 12 is consideration of the contract for administrative services for health, dental, HIPAA, COBRA, and stop-loss reinsurance.
We sent out bids because it was time to rebid this item for those services. And I'm going to ask Mr. Keith Patterson, who is a consultant of the City of Jackson in the Risk Management Department, to come up and explain what's going on with our recommendation.
Good morning.
Keith, how are you?
Good. Ms. White said we sent it out. We had several carriers, TPAs respond. United Healthcare, Health Partners, and Blue Cross, who's the incumbent. And based on the fixed cost, which is administration and stop loss, and the claims experience and the repricing of the claims experience by Health Partners in comparison with Blue Cross represents the absolute lowest cost and best services for the city for this contract period.
Mr. Chairman, overall cost, you're saying is Blue Cross?
That's correct.
Overall?
Yeah, from a fixed cost standpoint, when you look at the cost of administration, PPO access, utilization review, and the reinsurance, Health Partners is a little bit less than Blue Cross. But that cost represents less than 10% of the total expenditures for the health benefits. On the medical side, the difference in discounts realized by Blue Cross more than make up for that. And to choose a carrier other than Blue Cross would cost the city more than $500,000 in annual expenses.
Move we accept the committee's recommendation of Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Second.
In discussion.
I've got a question, Mayor.
Go
Make sure I
ahead.
understand this. On you've got this broken down between I and I. On the claims allowed cost differential at the top, where you're showing it's an average of about 10%, Blue Cross Blue Shield is lower. Are you saying that on that 5.8 million, that they would be about $585,000 lower than the other provider for those
Blue Cross would be,
expenses?
yes.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? We have a motion, second discussion. Council, please vote.
And the motion passes with 8 members in favor and 1 abstaining.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Item 13, Ms. Bell will handle consideration of the approval of the following general fund, Sportsplex Fund, and Solid Waste Fund write-offs.
The first set of write-offs that we have is for police department accounts. Police department has an accounts receivable for bar light duty, a bar that is no longer open since Stations, $200. Parking tickets from 1999 to 2009, $57,807.
Move the approval.
Have a motion for approval, a second.
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 Discussion from council?
Mayor,
Yeah, go ahead.
although they're being written off, they're still gonna be.
They still can be collected, that is
Collected,
correct.
right,
This is just taking them off the accounts receivable on the
Right.
balance sheet, but yes, they
Okay.
still can be collected.
Right, thank you.
Okay, any other questions from council? Not council, please vote.
And the vote is unanimous.
The second set of write-offs that we have is for the Sportsplex Fund, Sportsplex sponsorships in the amount of $51,250, and I believe you had the attached list provided in your packet.
So moved.
Have a motion?
Second.
Second. Discussion from council?
One question on that one, I guess. Some of these, I'm noticing, are still around in business. Is this that they paid so much already that we're not pushing them for the extra, or?
Basically, Randy, you have to really look at the real world situation. Most of these contributions were just that, they were contributions. Somebody buying $250,000 for the naming rights for the girls softball here. You really didn't get that much benefit in cost analysis of advertising. So ATA has always taken the position that we would not sue, for example, if something was a non-payment. And if you look at D&H Investments, Mr. Fessmeyer is a steady, no longer paying the required payments.
Well, I was looking at some of the smaller ones that I knew that are still around in business, and
And we could, I mean, if it was a garbage collection or something like that, we could go after them. But in most cases, they were
dealing with civic contributions, Al, you were saying it would be insensitive to go after these sponsors.
Okay. Any other questions as far as that? If not, is there a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Discussion from council. Council, please vote.
Vote is unanimous.
The third set of write-offs that we have is required by statute. 2001 property taxes, broken down base, penalty, and interest for the total tax of $98,859.97.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion from council. Council, please vote.
And the vote is unanimous.
The fourth set is return checks and unreconciled checks. Return checks total $610.49, unreconciled payroll checks $1,513.58, and unreconciled account payable checks $3,354.92.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Have a motion, second. Discussion from council. Council, please vote.
And the vote is unanimous.
The next set of write-off relates to delinquent garbage accounts, in the amount of $26,102.95, and you have a list that's been provided of those.
So moved.
A motion, second.
Second.
Have a second. Discussion. Council, please vote.
And the vote is unanimous.
The last set of write-offs that we have is delinquent city court fines, and it was determined last year, rather than bringing like several years at a time, we would rotate those off as they become, 4 or 5 years. This year, we're looking to write off the fines from 7109 to 63010. They still are collectible. They will just be taken off the balance sheet, so I don't want you to think they're not collectible. The total that we'll write off for that fiscal year will be $295,878.77.
So moved.
I have a motion, a second, and a second. Discussion from council.
Just a quick question, Karen, are we doing a better job as we're going forward in collecting from city court?
I think so. From the numbers that I'm seeing, I think there's been a big improvement, so.
That's what I-
And that's the reason I want to bring them to you as they get 4 years behind, so you don't come up with 4 million like we have. But I think they've done much better if you break it down by the years that we wrote off back a few months ago versus this.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Questions? Council, please vote.
Vote is unanimous.
Thank you.
Item 14 is the board appointments to the JTA Board, reappointment of Dwayne Cherry. Is there a motion? A motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions from council? Council, please vote.
And the vote is unanimous.
On the Board of Equalization, the reappointments of Virginia Williamson and Betty Hearn.
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
Second. Discussion. Council, please vote.
And the vote is unanimous.
And on our Keep Jackson Beautiful Commission, the appointment of Mabel Teemer to replace Pam Wood's unexpired term.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Discussion. Council, please vote.
And the vote is unanimous.
And item 15, the budget amendments for this month.
All right, we have 2 budget amendments this month. The first one is for a fire prevention grant that was received, $2,097. No city match required. These funds will be used to purchase iPad computer equipment to be used by the Jackson Fire Department.
Move the approval.
Second.
Motion and second. Discussion from council. Council, please vote.
Vote is unanimous.
The second amendment that we have this month is for moving funds into the capital fund of the farmers market to build an amphitheater in the amount of $25,000. Again, this money will be moved from the excess revenues in the general fund into the capital fund for building of this facility.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion for approval and a second. Discussion. Council, please vote.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. Before we get to the last item, let me just remind the council and members of the audience, on May the 28th, which is a Tuesday, 4:30 in the afternoon, we're going to have a ribbon cutting at our new fire station number 7 at 72 Windy City Road. And Ms. Jones is here from the chamber, and I think they're obligated to have the red coats out there. So Invite any members of the council, anyone here, and especially the residents of the northwest area to come in and take a look at the new fire station. Much of our staff has worked extremely hard on that particular station, and I think we came in a little bit under budget, did we not? The completion of we're close to it. Knew I shouldn't have said that. We're under. We're not going to say by how much. So which is a victory of sorts anyway. So come out for some refreshments. Take a look at the station. I know the fire department is very proud of it, and I know we'll have some firefighters. And Chief, I think we'll probably implement the use of the station prior to that date.
Yes, sir.
But that'll be the official ribbon cutting, and everything should be in place, hopefully, by that date, okay? Item 10 is consideration of invoices over $10,000.
So moved.
Mr. Chairman, before you get to May 21st is an important date too.
That's the budget hearings. Don't you all forget that. We'd love for you all to be present.
Like you did.
May the 21st, 9 o'clock, here in the council chambers. Be prepared for the duration. We'll see if we can finish in one day. It may take two. We'll take whatever it takes to get it finished. Now then, item 16, consideration of invoices over $10,000. I think I heard a motion from the end. Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Questions, council, please vote.
Vote unanimous.
And there being no further business, meeting is adjourned.
Let me make sure I got that right.